Welcome back everyone to theCUBE here. I'm John Furrier, your host here at our New York Stock Exchange studio, of course. We have our Palo Alto studio connecting Silicon Valley and Wall Street. Welcome to this special presentation, The Modern Private Cloud, a Secure Foundation for Production AI. And welcome back two CUBE alumni, experts who are involved in continuing the momentum of private cloud with VMware VCF. Who better to kick it off than the man who coined the term, Chris Wolf, Global Head of AI and Advanced Services at Broadcom. Back to theCUBE. Great to see you, Chris. You coined the term, so it's happening. Welcome back.
No, it is happening, and it's exciting to be here to continue on this journey and continue this conversation, John.
And we have another CUBE alumni, Craig McLellan, who's the CEO of ThinkOn. Welcome back to the show. Good to see you.
Great to be here. Thanks for the time.
It's been a wild couple of years. In the past year, Chris, this has really been an amazing time for private AI, guardrails, secure AI. You're seeing the models getting better and better, and security is key. So give us the reason why this is happening. What are the key elements that's driving this market? You're hearing governance, you're hearing about AI infrastructure, but the enterprise is hot right now.
Yeah, the enterprise is hot. There's a lot happening here. If you think about it, the providers themselves are capacity constrained. So this is starting to favor more scale out architectures. There's a lot happening around data privacy and sovereignty. That's another aspect. You're seeing maturation of these more distributed or tiered architectures that are allowing you to leverage foundation models, but at the same time, make the best of what you can do on your own infrastructure for privacy controls, et cetera. So you're really seeing a maturation across the board. If you think about that, definitely more I can say there, but let me start off with that, John.
Yeah, I mean, it must feel weird that you kind of predicted this early. And if you remember correctly, we also had we introduced that 3 years ago, the power law, and we kind of saw the small language models emerge. You're starting to see small language models interacting with each other. So there's a lot that's changed, and that's also accelerated the private AI opportunity. So I guess I have to ask you, what's been the biggest change in terms of what it is? What is private AI? How has it evolved? You mentioned sovereignty. I mentioned some of these models. You're starting to see people realize that you can mix and match the models and decouple that from the infrastructure. So has that changed private AI at all? And if so, in what way?
Yeah. So if you think about the original definition, we were talking about it's an architectural approach where you're balancing the privacy and practical privacy and compliance gains with the needs of the organization. It was never about a very opinionated architecture, right? And that was intentional. We had some core tenets that were intentional, where we talked about it being highly distributed, having data privacy and control, having access control and auditability. And early on, a lot of this was around bringing the AI model to the data, but there's also making sure that I can properly filter data to share with, say, a frontier model. So I'd say that's one of the key differences. Now, the other things that have happened, though, this is where a lot of, I think, that nuance comes into play here, is people are really being mindful. You think about some of the global challenges of how you look at sovereignty and what the definition of sovereignty is. For a lot of our customers today, their definition means that it's not just about the data plane being sovereign, it's about the control plane being sovereign. It's that I can disconnect from the internet and I can continue to run, I can continue to operate. That's the difference, and that's been really driven over the last couple of years, far more so than we've seen previously. I'd say another technology leap, and we have our own AI gateway in our Cloud Foundation platform, is you're seeing gateways now start to help organizations to make decisions automatically as to, well, this is a very specific prompt and I can handle this with a small language model and on-prem. So let me use it there, or I'm doing some data retrieval. I can localize operations that way. And doing so is saving me on cloud egress. It's saving me on my token costs and things like that. And we'll continue to see that. And I'd say the last thing too is there's this massive focus on energy. So this focus on energy and energy reduction, as well as server infrastructure costs, such as memory, is bringing virtualization back into the mainstream as really core technology to make AI workloads and AI inference in particular the most efficient platform.
You mentioned virtualization important, but also containers and virtualization together really make up a great architecture for the agents. And you mentioned the three things: highly distributed, data privacy and control, access control, and auditability. Those things have been around. I mean, it's not like that's new. You guys called
Yeah.
that early.
Yeah.
However, there's been a real acceleration of the demand because of the use cases, the agents, right? And agents are running around chaotic. So they're running around loose. The chaos is got to be reined in. This is on-prem, and if also they're workers, they actually working in they want to be working in a private environment. How much has that impacted the roadmap? I'm sure it must have really put a boost into the operations.
It's had a massive impact. So not just in terms of how we're building capabilities in VCF, the platform, right, but also how we're enabling customers. Because when you're starting to think about agents and more autonomous style agents, it's not just about what the agent can or cannot do. It's about the audit trail for the agents as well, and making sure that I can trace agentic actions end to end. I understand how identity tokens are being passed. I can prove all of this in a compliance audit. These are really important enterprise controls, and it also means that you have to have a way to centralize them. Because the typical organization, they don't just have one AI services layer, they have different services layers depending on the lines of business, right? So I need to be able to say, well, okay, I want to operate these services, but IT operations, meanwhile, needs to have a way that it can enforce policy, it can enforce governance controls, and it can prove to compliance auditors that you truly are in compliance. And that's that centralized value that we're really looking to drive with the VCF product roadmap.
I want to dig into the customers. We'll bring Craig in. Craig, let's talk about the customer private AI use cases and deployment. But first, talk about ThinkOn and what you guys do, because this is really where the rubber meets the road.
Absolutely. Well, we've been a Broadcom partner since 2013 when I started the business. We're very happy to be so tightly associated with Broadcom, especially as we've launched Canada's first sovereign cloud. The company is really all about cloud services and in a regulated and highly secure environment.
Talk about that use case with the government. What specifically is going on there? How's that working out? What were their concerns? What was the requirements?
Yeah, I would say everything that Chris just went through from a technological perspective applied, plus add on zero trust. Being able to ensure that you have full compliance, being able to ensure that you have accountability, auditability. We're talking about different levels of data classification that have to be intertwined in this. There was really no working solution that could have done this on the public cloud. It had to be a private cloud.
Talk about the sovereignty angle, because this is coming up, obviously Canadian, they love their sovereignty, but this is every country is going to have not only cloud sovereignty, but AI sovereignty, which has an economic component because whatever's going on in country, those are services. This is a services, a software trend that's coming up. How did they react to that? What was that piece of it? If you guys could elaborate, sovereignty is the hottest thing. We predicted that 2 years ago. Now it's, again, not just cloud. We thought it was just going to be cloud, but the AI sovereignty, because of the economics of the value creation, is huge.
Yes, and I'd even go a step further and say that it's also about model sovereignty. Many countries want to have their own sovereign models. So, for instance, in Canada, Cohere is a vibrant participant in the market, and we actually took the opportunity to work closely with Broadcom to add the Cohere model to the environment as a private cloud. So we were able to provide the public sector with a combination of model sovereignty, certainly economic and data sovereignty, as well as control plane and data plane sovereignty.
Chris, let's talk more about this, because this is a full stack sovereignty situation. It's not just, this data center, this AI factory, this on-premise private cloud. It's models, it's the virtualizations, the containers, and then ultimately, who knows what the interface is going to be? It could be a headless system. It could be a domain-specific application. This is a key trend. What is holding customers back? What can you guys share? Are there blockers? Is it momentum? Is it change management? I mean, all of the above? Let's unpack that.
Yeah, it's a great and astute question, John. Like I'll start. I definitely want to hear Craig's perspective here too. So when you think about it, like when we looked at this, and you go back to what you said at the beginning, John, which was, what was your vision 3 years ago? Our vision 3 years ago was we wanted to be the easy button for AI inference. And what does the easy button mean? It means I can take a blueprint and say, I want to pull down this particular model with its optimized frameworks, its specific device drivers it might have, if there's optimized kernels, be able to deliver all that into a software package that's easy to lifecycle, is easy to scale for customers, and is safe and secure. That was our product vision. That's what we've delivered. You look at our product today, we can automatically load balance. We can find the right GPU capacity, the right network I/O, storage I/O, be able to meet availability SLAs. This is all built in. We have the industry standard model runtime, which has a huge open source community around it in VLLM. We're already CNCF AI conformant for Kubernetes. So when you can have all of these building blocks and it's just simple and easy to deploy and maintain, that's taken the complexity out. So complexity to me has been the biggest barrier to adoption. You're taking appliances that were purpose built for AI, for AI research, and trying to operationalize them by building your own software stack. What we're giving you now is something turnkey, and that's really made a difference.
Have you guys seen, Craig, have you seen the focus shift towards not AI strategy, but more execution? I mean, the strategy is put AI in everything and make sure it's secure and it's accurate and performs. Those are kind of standard first principles. But has it changed? I mean, the execution seems to be the focus right now. Can you actually execute?
I think that the way I'd look at it is I love Chris's reference to an easy button, because the clients are always looking for the easy buttons, despite the complexity the client wants to bring to the table. What I love about this first project that we worked on over the last few months was it was a three-way collaboration. There's a collaboration between certainly Broadcom and ThinkOn, because this is a complex environment that we need to present the easy button with. But then on top of that, we had to work with the client that was bringing workload to us that wasn't necessarily entirely thought through either. And to be able to turn it into a tool that internal members of the public sector community can actually use safely and securely, and most importantly, easily, was no small task.
And what was the results? Just scope the project. How fast did it go? Are they happy? What are some of the anecdotes coming out of that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it was what I loved about this is it's been measured in months, not in quarters. We've had phenomenal support along the way. So even what's nice about the relationship with Broadcom is when you encounter bumps in the road, they're just dealt with, which is something that is rare in this time and place. I'll say that the adoption rate is growing quite quickly. They're adding more users to it. It's measured in the thousands now. And it's a very unique use cases for internal use within the public sector. So it's not something I can talk about in a lot of detail, but what I can tell you is adoption is accelerating. And in the world of AI, where everyone thought they could do their own thing, to see adoption consolidate and accelerate at the same time is no small feat.
Great stuff, guys. Great detail you guys shared today. Anything you'd like to leave with folks watching? Obviously, a lot of people are architecting their journey to the modern, private cloud. Obviously, they want it to be a secure foundation. It's going to enable a lot of services. Any thoughts to share with folks who are in discovery mode or laying out the fields to build out their infrastructure?
Maybe I could go first and just let Chris wrap up. But I would say first and foremost is this is extremely doable. You just need to get into it. That easy button that Chris referred to, it's there. And the longer people sit and think and talk about it, the longer it's going to be before they actually have successful adoption.
Chris, yeah, and I would add that if we stay on that theme, the GPU is the easy part when it comes to AI. It really is. It's the entire operation stack around it. That's the things that slow people down. When you're really trying to scale, you're trying to maintain availability, SLAs, like I mentioned, observability, compliance, how am I enforcing security? These are things that you don't want to do in a bunch of silos, right? That drives up cost. So you want to think about, how do I get to a unified architecture that gives me service independence between models and AI service layers, so I can consolidate and have a central control point as much as possible, but do so in a way that's leveraging industry standard and open APIs above that platform, so you don't have that friction or stickiness. So that's what we're committed to, being that the best AI runtime that you're going to find anywhere, and really the only one you're going to be able to truly air gap and continue to operate as well. So doing this and doing it in a way that's driving down TCO for organizations, ultimately it means that you're not worried about running out of your AI budget in the first 2 months of the year. You're actually optimizing that AI budget and you're able to invest in other places.
It's interesting you mentioned budget, Chris, because in DevOps it was build and operate, And then you add secure in there, DevSecOps. With AI, it's happening so much faster. You got builders, AI builders. You got the AI operators, which is the business people. But the builders and operators, they have to act like investors because they're the CFO of their own department. So whatever they save, they can plow back in because they know if they blow their budgets on tokens and overbuilding hardware, there's no well to tap. The money is not growing as fast as the change. So this is changing it down. I'm just curious from your perspective, have you seen that and how do you see that playing out into the operations? Because they have to think like, I got to pour more money into projects.
Yeah, and Broadcom, like, I'd love to see how Craig's seen this with his clients too, but I can tell you, internally in Broadcom, to even get a POC approved, you have to provide the math for how you're going to calculate the ROI. And then that's going to get measured against other potential projects. When we approve a project for production use, the general manager of the Broadcom division is attesting to the ROI statement, and that's getting applied to their annual operating plan. This has really driven good governance and good behavior and hygiene in our own internal AI usage to ensure that we're not doing AI for the sake of AI. Now, there's going to be differences in unexpected costs like anywhere, right? But you could take these practical measures. And what I'm excited about that's really going to change the game is localizing decision making, being able to use AI gateways to decide what am I going to use a frontier model for where it's really needed and where is it not needed that I can drive these actions to more local transactions or local smaller language models and things like that. So that's what I'm excited about this year and really heading into next year from a maturation perspective.
Craig, chime in because, it's not just cost your savings, it's revenue. These are revenue projects too. They're driving revenue. AI projects aren't just information technology as a service. It's revenue generating.
It's time to revenue. So what I would say is there's lots of people that want to talk about this. There's a lot fewer people that actually want to execute and get through it. But I think to Chris's point, I heard the word governance. It's incredibly important in the public sector and in the commercial sector. But I'm bringing a public sector perspective today. Being able to demonstrate a very effective TCO is phenomenally easier with working with what we've been working with as opposed to, some magic box. It's been quite the experience, actually.
ROI, tokenomics, making sure that the economic visibility is there for revenue. Gentlemen, thank you for sharing this modern private cloud, a secure foundation for AI. Thanks for coming on. The evolution of private AI, Chris, is continuing to thunder away. Congratulations on making the good bets. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much.
I'm John Furrier with theCUBE, here for the Modern Private Cloud series, a special edition securing the foundation for production AI. Thanks for watching.